Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 48 and we have a really cool one for you today. A lot of you have probably seen this fish on like National Geographic, maybe in the zoo, but how much do you really know about this fish? Today we are going to be talking about the common archerfish. So common archerfish, or scientific name Toxotes chattarius. Again, that's Toxotes chattarius. It is part of the family Toxotidae. If you can kind of figure out, that's the family of archerfish, and there's nothing else in there. There's only like 10 species in this family, and they are all archerfish, just differing how they do. A lot of people think that these are from South America because quite commonly they are put in South American tanks, but in all actuality they are found in Asia, primarily through Southeast Asia, the Indian Pacific Ocean, and Australia. So an extremely wide range. And the reason why is because these can be found in both fresh and brackish water. So brackish water is water that's kind of like on the borderline between the ocean and freshwater river. And these can tolerate pretty high salt. They can't just go into true salt water, but they can stay in that brackish area, which is the mixture. These are really associated with mangrove swamps or very slow moving rivers. So you can imagine how a mangrove swamp is. As you can expect also in this region, these really have to be in very warm water. They can be in a little bit colder, but they're really warm. It seems to be that between 25 and 30 degrees Celsius is where these fish really want to. And that's about 75 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Almost bath water. Now they do have to be in a shaded area, or they definitely like to hang out there. They are only found in areas that have an intact riparian. And a riparian is that strip of vegetation along water's edge. They are a moderate sized fish. They're usually found between 15 and 20 centimeters, which that's about 6 to 8 inches. However, in rare cases, they have been known to get up to 40 centimeters, which is 16 inches, almost double in size. Just really weird. Sometimes they just grow and grow and don't stop growing, but usually you're gonna find them in that half a foot range or 15 centimeter range. They do weigh up to about 700 grams, which is about 25 ounces, so they do actually have some meat on their bones. They are used as a food fish in some areas, not as a big, a huge one. And they have 5 or 6 dorsal spines. So you can see on this fin right here, it's got some spines. There's 5 or 6 on the back fin. And then they got this real square caudal fin, tail fin, other people say it. And one of the differences between the common archerfish and the other archerfish in the family is if you look at this, it looks sooty. It looks like it's just, got a lot of ash on it. Looks like it rolled around in like old fire pit, versus just having like a nice silver body. Really got this sort of dark back. You're distracted with the hairy knee. Now that I notice it, I can't unsee it. Sorry about the hairy knee. Most other archerfish are going to be that very silvery. Now, something else about this, it has these blotches down the side. So, boop, 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 boop. There are 6 or 7 dark blotches down along the sides, sometimes more, sometimes less. They seem to alternate long and short. That seems to be pretty indicative, but that's actually really common because this is known as the 7-spot archerfish. So quite usually, I think it usually has 7 spots down the side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bam. There you go. Just a little interesting thing. As far as their reproduction goes, the females they will congregate, and the females will lay eggs. It's kind of neat actually. The females will lay between 20,000 and 150,000 eggs, which is a significant number. But we talked about other fish that have laid, close to 1 million. But something about their eggs is these eggs are actually buoyant, meaning that they float. And not only are they buoyant, their eggs are 0.4 millimeters in diameter. So 0.4, not even a millimeter, not even half a millimeter wide. And there's just a whole bunch of them floating on the surface. That's really, really interesting. Now, these have not been bred in captivity, but these are very commonly kept in aquariums. $35, you can find them. Usually, it was hard for me to find one that was for sure a common archerfish. There are 3 common species in the aquarium trade. Banded archerfish seems to be the most common. But I'm not saying that you can't find these. Also, it seems like they just collect archerfish or group them together. So, it's really hard, but you can find these in the aquarium trade. They are very popular in larger aquariums like city aquariums. They are a little difficult to keep. And the reason why is the interesting fact. And this is going to be kind of the longest interesting fact that we're going to end the video on, because it's so much going into it. And that is how they feed. Well, these have really good feeding characteristics. They are able, we're just going to get into it. They are able to spit streams of water to knock prey down from there. And we actually have a video. This is on the New York Times YouTube, the fish that spits with perfect aim, Archerfish in action. It's got 1:44. We're only going to play like the first 20 seconds. But watch here. So it comes up and it spits, and there was a bug on that deal. It knocks the bug down because the bug can't fly, and then as soon as it hits the water, it swallows. So that is one of the things that this fish is very well known for, and why many people have seen videos of this fish before, or pictures of this fish. Let's watch that again. There is no sound, and I apologize. But if you notice, so this fish is, you can tell from its body shape, with the upward turned mouth and a sort of flat back, that is pretty indicative of a fish that stays on the surface of the water. So it comes up and boop. Now, something that kind of going into this is, it sees this bug. That means that this fish actually has very well developed visual recognition ability, meaning that they can see things. Especially when you talk about how far they can. So the common archerfish can hit prey up to 150 centimeters or 59 inches away against complex backgrounds, meaning they're not just, they can't shoot, they can shoot something 60 inches away, a meter and a half away, but in the middle of a jungle. They can see a bug on a leaf in the mixture of a whole bunch of leaves. And that's really difficult even for humans to do from that far away. Just a little interesting fact, we talked about them in the aquarium. They are so well developed, they will tell the difference between human faces. And if you have 2 people that own an aquarium, like a husband and a wife, and the wife is the only one that feeds the fish, the archerfish will not care about the man, but as soon as it sees the woman, the wife, if she's the one that only feeds, she's the only one, they'll get super excited when they see her because they think she's gonna feed. So just a little interesting fish fact. There's a bunch of fish they can. But going back to their visual recognition and how they can see these bugs, it's not only that they can see a bug, they can actually tell the different types of bugs. It's so well developed that they don't prey on certain insects. There are certain insects that I don't know if it's because they're slightly toxic or they're just not very nutritional for them, but they can see an insect, 35 inches away, 100 centimeters away, a meter away, and be like, and realize that that is not a bug they want to eat, and not try and eat it. Ignore it. That's really interesting. Very odd. Now they do feed on other things. They'll feed on crustaceans. They actually eat quite a bit of plant material as well. Now back to the aquarium thing, they do jump out of aquariums, so you got to be a little careful on it. Because if they're close enough, and this is done by Warren Photographic, how they got this picture is absolutely incredible, but they will actually jump out of the water to get low-hanging insects instead of shooting them down, which I thought was really impressive. But that is why you got to be a little bit careful about keeping them in an aquarium. Especially considering that these will not take flake food, so the processed food. They need live food at the surface, so you have to get crickets or insects and like drop them in. All right, so now the spitting. We're gonna watch this one more time. Oop. So now we're gonna talk about that spitting action right there. When an archerfish sees a bug, or when it selects its prey, it will actually physically rotate its eye so that the image of the prey will fall on a very particular portion of the eye. It's kind of like, how animals will turn their heads side to side to get a better vision with it. They'll rotate their eye, basically zone in to zero in on that bug. And then its lips will just break the surface. And how it does this how it squirts the water after it breaks the surface is it basically forms a small groove in the roof of its mouth and its tongue. So you know how when you were younger you tried to roll your tongue, and some people can, some people can't. Basically the archerfish does that, and it forms that groove with its mouth and its tongue. And then what it does is it will take its gill covers, so right here, and bring in some water, and then squeezing them really hard, which forces water through that little channel, and it shoots a stream shaped by its mouth part. Now the interesting thing about that is that the rear part of the water stream is faster than the front. So basically this water up here is traveling slower than the water that leaves its mouth last. Why would it do that? That speed change actually critical for them, because what happens if this water is moving faster than the water here, when they connect, what happens when water does? It splashes or makes a blob, basically. And they make that blob on purpose. And if you look at the video, it's really hard to tell, but we're gonna watch it in super slow-mo, playback speed, and quarter speed. So here it comes breaking the surface with its lips. Considering that it was already in slow-mo, this might take a little bit longer. See there. You see how it's blobbing right at the end, right before it connects with the insect? Just how it's kind of curling and stopping. They actually do that on purpose, and they can change that. So depending on how far away it is, it will depend on when that blob forms. So they form that blob to trap that bug in basically a giant raindrop to bring it down. So basically this fish actually accounts for rain. which is incredible when you think about it. So they're not just spitting at a fish, they're actually forming a bullet, a specific bullet of water. And they are persistent. They will shoot multiple times at an insect, especially if the first one fails, which is also really, I'm sorry that this is the interesting fact, it's longer. Young archerfish start shooting when they're only an inch long, but they're actually incredibly inaccurate. They actually have to learn from experience. Practice makes perfect. Young archerfish actually have to practice doing it. When they're learning how to do it, they will hunt in small schools, and it does a couple of things. One is it increases the probability that one of their streams will hit the insect, but also they're watching each other and learning what all the other fish are doing right, doing wrong, and will learn from that. And there's actually been a study that shows that archerfish benefit from watching another archerfish successfully hit a target without actually practicing. It's actually an example of social learning within a fish. So that's just amazing. And also, there's new research that has come out that found the archerfish uses those jets underwater as well to basically stir up the sand and get those, small crustaceans, small bugs that are in the bottom of the river to actually come up. So that's just incredibly interesting. That's new research. Now, they don't know whether the one underwater or the one over water was developed first, but it's just amazing to think about it, that it's using a bullet and it's learning how to use its bullets from its brothers, its sisters, and others of its species to figure out how to be better about hitting them. And they are incredibly accurate. But thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you do, I'd really appreciate it, and I hope to see you again